think.
Yeah, I think so. Well, some people, Mayor, some people are pro-business and some aren't.
Where's the,
This is the regular meeting of the Joliet City Council for Tuesday, April 16th, 2019, chaired by Mayor Bob Oderkirk. Invocation will be given by Pastor Larry Tyler of the Second Baptist Church, 156 South Joliet Street in Joliet, after which he will lead us in the pledge to the flag. So please rise.
Let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, we thank you for the privilege to talk to you and to invite you into these proceedings. We thank you for every member of this city council. We pray, Lord, that you would bless them, all their families. We pray for enablement. We pray for wisdom and strength. We ask that you would bless the citizens that are here. We pray, Lord, for one accordness. We pray for progress. We pray for understanding. We ask all of this in the great name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and all the people said, Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to this republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Oderkirk.
Here.
Councilman Dickinson.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Girl.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation on the gypsy moth treatment by Nancy Johnson, plant pesticide specialist with the Illinois Department of Agriculture.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for letting me come in for just a few minutes. I'm not going to do a full presentation because you guys have seen me before, we've met before. I'm with the Gypsy Moth Program, and this is a great night to be here because I'm all about saving the oak tree. I just wanted to let everybody know that we're going to be treating once again for the gypsy moth over by Pilcher Park and part of Joliet mid-May. We're going to be doing a treatment of BTK, which is Bacillus thuringiensis christaki, which is a naturally occurring bacteria. It's OMRI certified, organic. I'm not sure if you guys all know, I mean, I've been here quite a few times with the gypsy moth. If you're familiar with this invasive species, it's a defoliator. It destroys our oak trees. Unlike the EAB, which kills them right away, we can do something about this invasive species. You know, usually trees can kick out a second set of leaves, and there's other areas that are, you know, affecting the tree, like drought or urban development that might help destroy the tree. But with the BTK, we're able to treat for this invasive species. So I'm here just to let you guys know what we're going to be doing, so you're not to be, you know, afraid with these helicopters going over, you know, that be about 20 feet over the trees. We'll have a treatment in mid-May and a second treatment about 7 to 10 days later. Basically, I'm here just to get the word out about the treatment. Do you have any questions? I'm happy to answer any questions instead of doing the full-on presentation.
Two things. You do this real early in the morning, correct?
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, we do this. It has to be ideal conditions. We have to have the wind be below 10 miles per hour. We have to have a certain temperature. It has to be a cool morning. And our dew point has to be at a little bit above, there's a certain percentage that we go, but make sure that it dries on the leaves thoroughly before everybody starts moving in the morning.
So is there a way that you can let us know so we can let the residents know? I know you were here last year, but there still was concern when people hear helicopters flying low.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get the word out. We do have a Facebook page that I'm going to be live. I will call the city, and I'll be posting on this Facebook, Gypsy Moth in Illinois. It's connected to the Illinois Department of Agriculture. It's not a perfect method, but I'll be there live updating pretty much every moment. Like when I'm there at 4 in the morning, giving advice on the weather, when we're going to be starting to treat. We avoid all schools, so I know in this treatment block, we have high school, so we won't be treating the school. And when we see the school buses move, we always avoid those areas. So yeah, we are really fussy on our timing. Sometimes it gets to be a little late. I think when we treated this area last year, we were hoping to start at 5 a.m., but we had to wait until about 7:30 because of the dew point. Is there any other questions from the council?
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Sure.
Have you thought about going on WJOL, the local radio station? Because early in the morning with Scott Slocum, he does a show, and you might be able to give him a call, get on there and explain this, because a lot of people do listen to that in the morning.
That would be great. That's a great idea. I will call them tomorrow.
And they would also put it on their website, and we can put it on our website as well, can't we, Mayor?
Yes.
That would be fabulous. I'll give them a call. That's a really good idea, because usually, the press release goes out, but it gets buried with so much going on these days.
A lot of people do listen to that in the morning. And then there's an afternoon show with Kevin Collins, so you might want to do both. And I'm sure they would let you do that to get the word out.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. And just to help you guys out, it's really hard getting the word out. Along with some of my staff, we're personally going door to door, handing out flyers of information, maps, information on BTK, which is the product we're using, and about the gypsy moth. So in your treatment area, in the block, we are going door to door. We've done about 300 to 400 of them already, and we'll finish every single house in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have a proclamation declaring April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day in the city of Joliet.
Come on, Ms. Rita.
Here we are again.
Again, how long have you been doing this?
Well, we've been a tree city for 28 years. We just were designated a tree city again for the 28th year. So that's how long I've been doing this.
That long? I thought maybe
28
longer.
years.
Okay.
No.
She's our tree lady, and we're thankful for that. Okay, proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special date be set aside for the planting of trees. This holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Trees can clean the air, produce oxygen, provide habitat for wildlife, reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, and moderate the temperature. Whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Joliet has been recognized as a Tree City USA for the 28th consecutive year by the National Arbor Day Foundation, and Joliet deserves to continue its tree planting ways. Now therefore, I, Robert Odekirk, Mayor of the City of Joliet, on behalf of the Joliet City Council, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2019 as Arbor Day in the City of Joliet, and I urge all citizens to support the efforts to care for our trees, woodlands, and to support our community's forestry program, and it's signed by Robert Mayor Odekirk.
Great.
And congratulations
you.
to you again.
And all of this really depends on the city council. We just completed the 4th year of our contract growing program, right? And we're into the 5th year now, which allows us to plant 1,000 trees a year. And we lost thousands of ash trees. So, it's a wonderful thing, and I think, I know according to Jim, we're mostly planting on the far west side where there were a lot of ash trees planted, and those people were really hit hard and lost a lot of their parkway trees. So it's great that we can do something to replace them. And finally, the leaves are coming out. We all appreciate those trees as we see them get green. We had another year of our poster contest. We are going to celebrate Arbor Day at Grand Prairie School. And today we have Heather Whistler, the principal at Grand Prairie, if you'd wave. Candace Savage, one of the teachers. Teresa Donahue, and Kathy Granquist. Are there any other teachers here? One more? What's your name? Okay. I didn't quite hear you, but great. Amy. And we have 7 winners. We have their posters over there, and everybody at City Hall voted. So we are going to call them up and honor them with a certificate. So Jim, and then if you students would please come up. Chloe Roberts was the kindergarten winner. And if you'll stand up here, okay, Chloe, stand up here. Riker Turek was the first grade winner. Angelina Alvarez was the second grade winner. Join your friends over here. Abby Cavernell was another second grade winner. We had a tie. Third grade is Kaylin Mariscal. Fourth grade winner was Angelina Trular. And fifth grade winner was Olivia Cavernell. Okay, I'm going to have you all stand right here, and then can you stand in the middle behind the city council members? Over here.
Come on, Jim.
Here, turn it. You're so little.
We're gonna take pictures, guys.
All of you, okay? This is good. All right, scrunch in.
You need
Scrunch in.
I'm in.
Squinching, are we squinching?
Turn your certificate around.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody look here. Oh, you take a picture.
Yeah.
All right, this is going up on Facebook. Okay? 1, 2, 3, say, we love trees.
Love trees.
Good job, guys.
Good job.
All right, we'll start here. Here, we'll start here with Mr. Church. Shake hands. And then start down the line. Congratulations. Oh, we're very proud of you.
Great job. Nice to meet you guys. Great job.
Great job. Nice picture. Nice picture. Nice job. Nice job.
Grand Prairie School has over 600 students.
Grand Prairie, 600 students, she said.
Great job.
Mayor, if I could just quickly make a comment.
Yeah.
Both my kids graduated from Grand Prairie, so very proud of the school. Very proud.
They did a great job, and we're going to have a Arbor Day celebration there a week from Friday.
I will be there.
We're looking forward to having some of you there.
All right.
I think you're gonna be there.
I'll be there, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Just tell them they can leave, you know. Thank you. Good work.
Next under mayor appointments, tonight the mayor is recommending Vincent Alessio be appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to appoint Vincent Alessio to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Congratulations, Vinny. Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Congratulations, Vincent. Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
I think you should come up and shake all of our hands. Aye.
Yes, yes, I think so too.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Right. I can get out of there.
Can't you do what the grade school kids did? Right.
Congratulations.
Under approval of agenda, is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with the following change? Remove the resolution portion of Council Memo 193-19, which was a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an agreement with Andres Medical Billing from Council Memo 193-19. We will be voting on the ordinance portion of this. We're just removing the resolution portion. So is there a motion to approve the agenda as written with removal of the resolution for Council Memo 193-19?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? This is for any item excluding the public hearing. Seeing none, council committee reports, Economic Development Committee report.
The Economic Development Committee met here on April 9th in the executive conference room. In attendance were the committee members, myself, Councilman Morris, Councilman Mudrin. On our agenda was a sales tax rebate with CarMax Auto Superstores. That was the sole item on the agenda. We discussed it, we vetted it, and in a one vote, it was sent to the full council with recommendation to approve. Other than that, we did some economic development updates, which are all available online always. So that's my report, short and sweet, Mayor.
Thank you.
Finance Committee report.
The Finance Committee, comprised of Councilman Girl and Councilman Mudrin, met at 5:30 this evening in the executive conference room to approve the ambulance service and fees. We also approved taking the agreement with Andres off the council agenda there'll be a bidding process on that at a future meeting. Ambulance service and fees will go up about $200 per classification. However, Joliet residents will not pay any more than their insurance company reimburses. We also reviewed the monthly financial report, personnel summary, travel expense report, invoices paid, found them all to be in order, and recommended their approval.
Is the Prison Committee report.
Yes, Your Honor, the Prison Committee met on the 8th of this month. Here in the conference room, the committee members are Councilman Morris, Councilman Dickinson, and myself. We had a very good update on the happenings at the prison, so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Jones to kind of give us all the updates.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Hopefully the mayor won't cut me off with a 4-minute limit.
It's a lot to cover.
First and foremost, I know we talked about the fact that trades were very interested in doing a second year of volunteer effort for all of our work at the prison. Happy to report that on May 4th, which is a Saturday, we will have a group of tradespeople out there. And I have to laugh, just in the last couple of days, the numbers have increased. We thought it would be a smaller group than last year, but people are devoted to the restoration efforts, so it'll be a good day for all. Secondly, we've talked about the open space and the long-term goals of getting the open space in the hands of the Forest Preserve District so they could do programming along with the Park District. We have completed our survey of the property that we think would be sufficient to really contact the state and say, okay, we're interested in ownership of that open space, knowing that the Forest Preserve District will eventually take that. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll be making some outreach to the Department of Corrections as well as the Central Management Services entity at the state, give them that survey and show them exactly what we think could be spun off. It's a first step. It is all the open space. Some of you have seen some of those long-term plans the Forest Preserve District has put together. So it'll really be the first opportunity for us to put some of that property in the hands of Forest Preserve District. And associated a little bit with that is the fact that we have an interesting proposal that's on the table and we're starting to pursue. And it involves the use of that open space during this interim time that we're waiting for some of the final programming on the open space. And then hopefully this would also be incorporated once the Forest Preserve District takes over. And it involves disc golf. I'm not a disc golfer, but boy, everything we heard from the day that they did that in-prison event last year had 240 golfers pay $50 each, and it sold out in 12 minutes online just for people to play disc golf. What's happening on the on the east side is a course is being created with the baskets and with pathways going from the lowlands up into the bluff, into the wooded areas, circling back around. It won't involve any expense on our side. They're generating funds, working with the museum, who would oversee their operation, but it would be free to the public. But the real goal and the real way that they see recouping the cost of the investment are some tournaments. And they've actually had professional disc golfers come out and look at this site. And I'm not making this up, but they think that this could be one of the best courses in Illinois, if not the Midwest. So it's one more thing that will generate additional foot traffic here, hopefully restaurant business downtown, Collins Street, et cetera. So even though it's recreation and kind of fun things, it really does come into economic development and tourism. So sometime this summer, there will be disc golf on that open space. Next item, we talked about the lease status of the women's prison. We actually have the firm we're courting coming out next week with electricians looking at the interior, starting to do cost estimates. We also have some fire protection people they're bringing. It's an out-of-state firm, so in effect, let's just say they're from the south, so they really weren't interested in going into that prison during the winter time when there was no heat, so they've waited until the spring and they're starting that work. So hopefully over the next 60 to 90 days, we'll have a firm proposal from them. Grants in progress, we talked about 2 grants. We have a capital grant we're waiting word on from the state of Illinois. It's basically for 3 major projects. One is to convert the old guardhouse into a visitor center for the museum. Interior renovations, including plumbing, bathroom facilities, electrical, HVAC, et cetera. We're also looking to replace the interpretive signs that exist on the outside of the prison. Those are probably installed in the 90s, certainly out of date, not in real good repair. And we also would like to do interpretive signs within the prison itself, which would assist on the tours. And then the third part, to light those walls up at night. Yes. Anyone who was at the break-in event will remember how great the prison looked with uplighting. And even though it was generator power, it was a way to really accent that stone and that historic look. So we have a portion of this grant that would light up the south wall from administration to Collins Street and then the entire Collins Street wall. Basically give it a look that is not abandoned, but basically shows it's an active site. There's also an advertising grant out there. Museum is partnering with Heritage Corridor Visitors Bureau. I believe it was a $22,000 matching grant, so $22,000 local, $22,000 from the state, and that's to do some television media to advertise the prison and what's happening. And last but not least, museum tours have started. And they're selling tickets. Certainly, we haven't sold out to July, but we have people that are actually reserving space as far ahead as July. Obviously, they're vacation folks. We have international visitors. They did sell 200 tickets to a Chinese tour company. So the interest in year 2 is certainly not stopped or slowed down. In fact, it's accelerating as we increase the marketing. So as I've told people, buy your tickets now because the dates you're interested in may not be available by the time you get around to it. And then lastly, our break-in event. We have, Chris, I'm looking at you. It's the 23rd of August?
I believe the 24th.
24th, thank you. One-day event, as we did last year. We're looking to get perhaps up in the game a little bit with regard to the musical entertainment. But once again, this particular event is run by the volunteers, so the net will go right into the prison restoration fund. And we did 3,500 people last year. We hope to get that number up. That
I believe, is the end of our report.
Thank you, Steve. That is the end of our report, Your Honor.
Steve, when you talk about the open space, can you give people an idea how many acres we're talking about?
Yes, it's 140 acres, and it goes, it's an area that goes just north of the women's prison, circles around the east side of the crime lab, and then basically goes all the way up across the railroad tracks up to the bluff, and it includes a portion of the bluff. Includes both quarries, the old stone crushing building that's still there. I mean, it's an incredible piece. In fact, if you go on the Forest Preserve District website, they did some drone views, and you'll look at this, and it doesn't even look like it's Joliet, just because it's untouched property. Well, you know, it's been untouched for the last couple of decades, but I mean, beautiful open space. So it'll be a real asset to the community when this eventually does become something that's fully covered with trails and bike paths and fishing docks and all the things that the Forest Preserve District would like to do.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Question. Steve, how many acres would the Frisbee golf need of that 140?
They're actually designing that from the I can't think of the name of the road. Louis Ray?
Louise Ray.
From Louis Ray to the north and to the east of the property. It's not the full 140 acres. I would say it's around 100. But we did chat with Ralph Schultz about it, and you have these disc golf courses integrated into parks wherever they are. You know, so it's not like it's just dedicated for that and nothing else can occur.
Okay.
So as the trails and they come in into a final design of any plans, those things could be incorporated into this course.
Okay.
So it'll be a nice complementary use as opposed to something that's different and not really related to what they're trying to achieve.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Public Safety Committee report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, tonight the Public Safety Committee met. In attendance were Councilman Hugg, myself, Chief Wormhalls, and Amanda Jackson from Andres Medical Billing Limited. We're bringing two items to council for approval. One is a request for approval to amend the ambulance service and fees, kind of bring them up to date. And in attendance, we have Ms. Jackson here, if anybody has any comments, questions. Okay, and then also we have, our second recommendation is for the request for authorization to amend the 2019 budget and to purchase a replacement dive team boat for the fire department. The dive team boat that we have right now, the bottom is coming apart, and I don't think we want to send our guys out in that. So it's coming up for approval tonight. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
First, I just wanted to clarify, in deference to my council member who said it, it's Louise Ray, who, the reason I clarify it is, even the mayor had a relationship with her. She was a great community leader and a wonderful woman that we honored by naming a road after her, and I wanted to make that clear. You've learned something new. I learn something new every day. We got a lot of roads. Public service met yesterday, the 15th, tax day, here at the executive conference room. For the most part, everything on the agenda was early year, beginning of the year contract and such things as getting aggregates, meaning stones and different things that we need to have in stock. I would just briefly point out that we did extend to the second year, so year 2 of the contract, for the professional service contract for the unarmed security services at the Joliet Gateway Transportation Center. That company, which was, what was the name of the company? It escapes me. They've done a great job. We've vetted it, we looked at it, and they've done a great job. So we are happy with the performance.
Fantasy Amusements.
Fantasy Amusements, thank you. See, that's why we're a committee. We work together well. The other thing I would bring up is the Emerald Road stoplight out there by Laraway. We sent forward and approved for recommendation for approval to the full council. memorandum of understanding, because what had happened is we want to get that stoplight up, and it got held up because in the process of going to the state to get the funds from the state that would, I think 80% with 20% us matching, they decided there had to be a couple of improvements up the road in Laraway. So this memorandum of understanding, MOU, how's that? Jim Tristan and his staff worked it out well so that we can split it into 2 projects, because originally I think the state was insinuating it would be one, so that we can get the stoplights in and help the traffic out there and then finish the other ones. So the good news is the stoplights will be coming to Emerald, just like we've been saying they would, and we're going to be working it out with the state to get them done sooner rather than later. That's pretty much it. The rest of the items we did look at, the contracts, one item under change orders, and all the items on the agenda were unanimously approved for recommendation of the full council by all 3 members, which I did not mention. In attendance was Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Dickinson, and myself. Folks, did I leave anything out?
No, you got it.
All right, that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you.
There are no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the combined council meeting held on April 1st, 2019 stand approved as recorded. Invoices paid report. It's recommended this report be received and placed on file. And Council Memo 180-19, 2019 Deteriorated Roadway Resurfacing Program. It's recommended this program be approved. Is there a motion to approve said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under licenses and permit applications, Council Memo 182-19, approval to hold a carnival June 27th through June 30th at Chicagoland Speedway during NASCAR weekend. It's recommended this carnival permit be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 183-19, an application for a drive-through permit for a Panera restaurant at 2400 West Jefferson Street. It's recommended a drive-through permit for Panera restaurant located at 2400 Jefferson Street be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 184-19, issuance of a Class A liquor license for Johnny's at 1008 North Hickory Street.
Mayor?
Yes.
There was a question yesterday about a list of the violations, and that was sent to Johnny's, and then they are to recontact the city for a re-inspection. I mean, I looked at the list. It's, dumpster enclosing, parking lot striping. Doesn't seem to be anything too major, but, they do have a list. So if you do have a list, I'll have it in my office if you're interested.
Thank you.
Staff is recommending that Johnny's located at 1008 North Hickory be issued a Class A liquor license.
And just to clarify, they cannot get the license until they complete these or fix these violations.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 185-19, issuance of a Class D liquor license for K-Ribs Barbecue at 221 North Chicago Street. It's recommended K-Ribs Barbecue located at 221 North Chicago Street be issued a Class D liquor license.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under public hearings, Council Memo 187-19, ordinances and a resolution approving the annexation of 52.1 acres located at 620 Sandal Place and 800 Richard Street, classification to I-1 light industrial zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. Staff is recommending this item be tabled to the May 21st council meeting. However, the public hearing was opened at a previous meeting, so comments would be in order at this time.
Is there anyone who'd like to comment on this agenda item?
Seeing none, is there a motion to table the public hearing and council memo 187-19 to the May 21st council meeting?
Move the table until May 21st.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to table council memo 187-19 to the May 21st council meeting. Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances and resolutions, Council Memo 189-19, an ordinance approving the reclassification of 7.5 acres at 2800 West Schweitzer Road from I-1 Light Industrial Zoning to ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park Zoning. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned, seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Just one quick question. Is that correct? The racetrack that's there, the indoor racetrack, are they, they're selling their house and they're, not the house, but the business, and they're moving? It's right across the street from the park. Mr. Hanson, I meant to call you earlier today, I'm sorry. What, leisure hours?
Yes, Michael Hansen here. Yeah, leisure hours will be moving to their location in Plainfield.
In the city, or they move out of the city?
No, they're moving out of the city. They're closing this facet of their operation.
Okay, that's unfortunate, but, okay. I vote aye. Thank you.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 190-19, ordinances associated with Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet subdivision. This includes an ordinance approving a preliminary plat of Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet subdivision, Phase 21, a minor subdivision, and an ordinance approving the recording plat of Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet subdivision, Phase 21, a minor subdivision. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 191-19, an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow continuation of a 4-unit and R4 multifamily residential use in an R3 1 and 2 family residential zoning district located at 426, 432 Elwood Street. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So one
Second.
question, just
Yes.
one question before. And I don't believe I see the owner. Oh,
He's over here.
there you go. Okay.
He brought his interpreter as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Good evening. Good evening to you. Just one quick question for you. I saw the stipulations that you have. Are you going to be able to complete on time with it?
Oh, dice ella que si Betty Gavin dice que si usted va a poder cumplir con todos los requisitos para componer su propiedad en el tiempo que ellos le están dando.
Sí, voy a tratar de hacerlo como ellos me piden.
He says, yes, I am going to do exactly
If what they say.
you are
Okay.
telling me to do.
Okay, great. Great. Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Motion seconded to approve Council Memo 191-19, which is an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow continuation of a 4-unit and R4 use in an R3 zoning district located at 426, 432 Elwood Street. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Good luck and thank you. I'll vote aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 192-19, ordinances associated with the Silver Cross Area Tax Increment Financing District. This includes an ordinance approving the tax increment financing district eligibility study and redevelopment plan and project for the Silver Cross Area Redevelopment Project Area, an ordinance designating the Silver Cross Area Redevelopment Project Area, and an ordinance adopting tax increment financing. It's recommended said ordinances be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 193-19 is an ordinance amending the ambulance service fees. The resolution was previously removed from this item. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo 193-19, an ordinance amending ambulance service and fees?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 194-19, an ordinance declaring certain properties public nuisances. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 195-19, an ordinance amending the 2019 annual budget for the purchase of a replacement dive team boat for the fire department. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Just so everybody knows, this bottom was falling apart, and it was 25 years we got out of that boat, so we got our money's worth out of it. But yeah, if we kept sending people in this boat, we'd have to call a neighboring community to rescue our rescue team. So, aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under Resolutions, Council Memo 197-19, a resolution authorizing execution of an economic incentive agreement with CarMax Auto Superstores. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Mayor,
Yes.
I have a question. Is the
Right here.
owner here? Oh, I have a question for you. Can you come to the podium? I know there's been some talk about CarMax and nothing bad, but I was wondering if you would be willing to participate in the community like some other businesses do as far as sponsorships and things of that nature.
Certainly. We definitely recognize the importance of giving back to the communities where we have stores. CarMax has the CarMax Foundation, which gives to nonprofits in all the communities where we have stores. This past year, we gave over $6.5 million back to the local communities that are CarMax communities, and we've given over $45 million to date through the CarMax Foundation to local nonprofits. We also encourage all of our associates to take part in community service, and they're allowed to do that on company time. So we definitely recognize the importance of being a good corporate citizen and want to give back to all the communities where we have stores.
So for example, if the City Center Partnership asked you for a sponsorship for, say, Mardi Gras that's coming up, would you be willing to do something like that and have your banner and everything for advertisement as part of the sponsorship, or is that not part of what your foundation does?
Sure, and that could definitely be something that we take part in. We look to our store associates to help guide the decisions locally in terms of what we donate to and what we take part in. And then we also take proposals from local community organizations, and those are vetted by the local store team. So we give a lot of authority to our local store, and they work with our foundation to determine how they want to give back to the community.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
This motion is seconded to approve.
Question.
Yeah, you know, actually, that was brought up in the committee meeting, and I was gonna, because I thought it was very important, Councilman Mudrin had asked of that at the committee meeting, and I should have did this last night, I'm sorry. And the other point that I thought was very good for the public to know was about the maintenance, that you all send the cars out to our local dealers for maintenance. I just think, to me, it may not be important to anybody else but me. But could you expound on that as you did at the committee meeting about the maintenance? program?
So at this particular location, we'll have a retail service operation, which is a light vehicle service operation, where we'll do oil changes, tire rotations, that type of thing. If a customer comes to us with a car that needs more significant repair work, such as major engine work, body work, painting, our local shop will not be equipped to do that type of work. But we often receive those requests from our customers. We sell extended service plans, and a lot of our cars are still under warranty since they're late model used vehicles. So when a customer comes to us needing more extensive work on their car, we actually work with other local dealers to send that work to them. So our relationships with other dealers in the community are very important to us as well. We always try to establish a positive relationship with other dealers just because we do rely on them for a significant amount of service work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was motion and seconded to approve Council Memo 197-19, which is a resolution authorizing execution of an economic incentive agreement with CarMax Auto Superstores. Councilman Turk?
You know, I don't have any problem with CarMax or your development. I have a little problem with the abatement agreement. The last couple we've given out is $3.5 million. This is a $3.7 million. You're going to put a multi-million-dollar project there, so I know and we're talking $200,000 between 3.5, 3.7. But I think to be consistent and fair with the last couple ones we did, we need to stay at 3.5. And I know it's not going to break CarMax, it's not going to break the city to have that $200,000 difference, but I think it's just a principle thing. So on the abatement, I'm going to vote no.
Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
No.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Motion carried 6-2.
Welcome. Thank you.
Council Memo 198-19, a resolution authorizing approval of an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the County of Wilk concerning the Wilk County Continuum of Care. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Girl?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilman Turk?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 199-19, a resolution authorizing an amendment to an intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the City of Joliet and the Joliet Park District regarding the Joliet Splash Station Water Park.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to give council a brief background on this. The city and the Park District entered into an IGA in 2001 in a joint venture for the Splash Station Water Park. The IGA was amended in 2012, whereby the city paid $950,000 in exchange for elimination of the city's debt service. And then at the same amendment, due to the unique nature of the water park in 2012, the city also agreed to provide a discount for sewer billing on the water park meters, which equates to approximately $15,000 to $17,000 a year in discount.
Okay. I know we cut off comment about this yesterday in discussion. The Park District is here, if they can approach. Normally, we would have done this at the pre-council, but you guys had a meeting yesterday.
Right.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for having me. Tom Karstens, Executive Director, Joliet Park District. Good to see everyone, and again, thanks for having me. With me, I have Lauren Ryan, and Lauren's our aquatic coordinator, so if there's any questions regarding that program area that I can't answer, she can answer. But I'd like to go over some information with you regarding Splash Station, some history, some numbers, etc. In regards to the proposed one-year subsidy, in the past years, we were able to cover Splash Station losses, but we can't now, especially with the referendum not passing. We're looking for the city to assist the Park District to fund the gap between the expenses and the revenues for the 2019 season and only the 2019 season. How does Splash Station impact the city and the Park District? Splash Station employs approximately 175 part-time staff members, mostly Joliet youth. At this time, we've hired 105 staff to date. So you might be asking, why have you hired 105 staff already? Well, it's such a big operation. We have to start hiring in January. If we started hiring in April, we wouldn't be able to open up the facility. The splash station sees between 55,000 and 65,000 swimmers every year since 2002. 67 outings have already been booked with 3,900 campers. In 2018, we had 40 birthday parties and 16 rentals. The Joliet Park District Day Camps, which are approximately 600 campers, if it didn't open, we would need to spend approximately $15,000 to book trips to relocate that camp's swimming activity to other facilities outside of Joliet, if not open this year. The program that's called Reading is Splashtastic, we do through the local schools. 1,155 splash station coupons have already been earned by students in Joliet to receive free child admission with a paid adult. So that's some of the background on Splash and how it impacts and the number of staff, the amount of attendance, etc. As far as the Park District goes, just to give you an idea, and I know you've heard a lot over the last couple months financially that we're in a critical situation, but just more information for you. Our operating fund right now is significant, is at a significant deficit. We're at about $1 million deficit at this time. For us, for the Park District to start making up and getting back on our feet, we need to make up $600,000 in cuts and additional revenue. Along those same lines, I want to make sure the council and the mayor is aware that the Park District has done and continues to do extensive reporting and extensive planning on how we could make those cuts. Without getting into specifics regarding our budget constraint plan, it includes staff reduction, which includes full-time and part-time staff, limiting facility operations, and I'm sure you know we have multiple facilities around Joliet, so we would limit operations. We would freeze hiring. We would contract. We would look at contracting some of our services, and purchasing would only be for need and safety, only on a need and safety basis, which of course has been implemented. If we make headway, but we don't make the headway we need to make, we're going to look at additional facility closures, i.e. possibly a golf course, and we'll do additional staff reduction. Regarding Splash and the plan and what we're looking at Splash, if we open and we receive the subsidy after the season and during the season, we would assess where we're at financially as far as our decision next year. If we get back on our feet, we would consider opening, and we would not be asking the city for a subsidy next year. But we would, of course, be looking at other options besides a swimming facility. If we don't get the funding this season, we would close this year and again assess our options. We would evaluate current amenities, look at repurposing the facility, and again, look at all options, and looking at all options which are being reviewed, which, again, I can't get into at this time because some of that is in executive session. So the Park District has been planning regarding the district itself and the cutbacks it needs to make, and also Splash Station in the future.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yep.
Yes.
I have some questions. First of all, what was your attendance last year as compared to year before and the year before?
But it's been pretty comparable year to year. It always falls within those.
If you could step up to the mic, please. Thank you.
As far as last year compared to other recent years, a lot of our operation is obviously weather dependent. So we did have some rough rain, some lower temperatures. So I would say that range is pretty much an average over the course of the park's history, that 55 to 65,000 people a year.
So last year lost $130,000, and it's been a loser every year.
Correct.
So the
last
family
6 years
passes,
we've
why did you do away with the
Pardon me?
family passes?
What was that, I'm sorry?
Why did you do away with the family passes?
We still offer family passes and season passes.
'Cause I've heard that as a complaint that was stopped.
No, actually currently have season passes that we've been selling as early as January 1st. They were available for purchase by families.
And has that gone down or gone up, passes?
As of right now, we have seen a slight decline in the season pass holder sales. Again, usually that's weather dependent. When we start seeing snow in April, people aren't really thinking towards summer. So usually the warmer it starts getting, the higher the sales of those season passes starts picking up.
Okay, now you're asking for 120 for Splash Station, but it's only open, what, 3 months, 4 months? What's the rest of the
About
money
3
for?
months.
When you're coming for Splash Station, you need 120 for Splash Station? Because then you were talking about other things, using the money for different things. Because in the paper, one of the commissioners said, well, if we get the money, we may use it for the Splash Station.
That's not the case. We would use the money for the splash
So the
station,
entire 120 would go for the Splash Station?
without a doubt.
But why do you need 120? Why not just the 10,000 for 4 months?
It's something we discussed, we being the mayor and Marty, regarding the cost and the price point we were looking at for what we lose at Splash Station.
Okay, you did another referendum, which didn't pass. The voters overwhelmingly voted it down. So were you depending on that referendum passing to keep Splash Station open? Because I asked that question because you weren't sure if it was gonna pass or not, but yet you continued to hire people for Splash Station. Did you hire folks with the intent saying you might not have a job if this doesn't pass?
Yeah, we hired staff with the intent that we thought the referendum would pass and that we would be able to operate.
So you told them that? Okay. So there was a 2-2 vote yesterday. So your board, I don't see anybody here from the board. Is anybody here from the board?
No.
Okay. And so they didn't make a decision, so I feel like the decision's kind of falling into our lap. And that I am not pleased about. I think they should have made the decision instead of coming to us and making us to have the final word.
And they did. So when it was reported, that was reported before executive session. We had executive session, we came out of executive session into public session, and was 3-1 with one commissioner not being present.
So
So
the
the direct-
president is on board with that because she was stated as saying she was on board with closing it.
Correct. So it was 3-1.
Okay.
3-1 with a commissioner that wasn't present, that it was in favor of, if the subsidy was granted, that he would be in favor of opening, so it would be 4-1.
So the president was still a no vote.
Correct.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, let me take that back. It wasn't the president. The president was a yes vote.
She changed her mind?
Correct.
You voted in public session and then you voted again in closed session and she changed her mind?
She did, we came out of closed session back in public session.
And you voted again?
And we didn't vote, they gave a directive. And the poll that was given before was 2-2. And then after executive session, when we went into public session, it was 3-1.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Question?
Yes.
Did you say you have approximately 60,000 customers a year? Why not just add $2 per ticket?
Yeah, well, we're looking at everything we
Right, why don't we,
do.
instead of coming
And-
here, why not add $2 per ticket and there's your 120 grand?
And I would say looking at the price point of facilities that have comparable amenities as Splash Station, looking at facilities like Pelican Harbor or the Shanahan Park District's facilities, trying to not outprice ourselves is also a consideration as far as what we set our daily admissions, our season pass prices at. So just trying to balance not overpricing our tickets for what we have to offer, and then also trying to accommodate and build up that missing $120,000 at the end of the year.
But Councilman Hug, yeah, we're looking at district-wide, looking at, besides the expenses, the revenue and our price points, or our prices, or our fees, or our memberships for everything, without pricing ourselves out of the market. But we are in a position where we're at, and we need to have volume.
Right, but we keep referring to market, so we probably should respect what the market says. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And one more question.
Yes.
I forgot. How many people attend Taste of Joliet?
Depending on the weather, on a good weekend, we'll get Friday about 20,000, Saturday about 25,000, Sunday maybe about 4,000 or 5,000, so about 50,000.
And a lot of those folks come from out of town, correct?
Correct.
So why not add more money to the tickets? $2 on those tickets?
And we have,
You have already?
yes, for this year. And we increased beer prices also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll make a comment. The Park District came to me and Marty about this. So, yeah, and again, I guess maybe an apology. I'm not trying to throw this on the council, but it was presented to me, what I found compelling, and I'm going to go on the record because I'm not sure if the vote's going to get to me, but between 55 and 65,000 people a year, many of them, maybe most of them are from our community. There is no other public pool in Joliet, so I think it's a real service for our community. Number two, that you've hired 105 people. Most of them are part-time summer help. So I would hate to see those kids who think they have a job lined up for the summer be without a job. And then number three, I was on the council when the Park District, or when the city owned Splash Station, the Park District came and took it over. So I felt as if you had helped the city of Joliet when you did that at that point. And I know it's a one-time subsidy, so that's something that I was willing to consider and willing to support. So again, that was the rationale for bringing it forward. It certainly wasn't trying to throw the council under the bus at all, but I thought you made a compelling argument.
Is there a motion?
No motion.
With no motion, the item would just die. There would be no vote.
Thank you.
Council Memo 200-19, a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding for the Illinois Route 53 at Emerald Drive and Laraway Road project between the Illinois Department of Transportation and the City of Joliet. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 201-19, a resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the Phase 3 engineering services for the Chicago Street roadway improvements, Washington Street to Jefferson Street project. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under award of contracts, Council Memo 203-19, approved Geographic Information Systems Professional Services, GIS Munis Integration Support. Council Memo 204-19, award a contract for the Public Utilities Restoration Program. Council Memo 205-19, award a price agreement for the 2019 street maintenance materials contracts. First, the City of Joliet aggregate price agreement contract, and second, the City of Joliet bituminous patching materials contract. Council Memo 206-19, approve funding for year 2 of the 2-year professional services contract for unarmed security services for the Joliet Gateway Transportation Center. Council Memo 207-19, award a professional services agreement for the Phase 3 engineering services for the Chicago Street roadway improvements, Washington Street to Jefferson Street project. Council Memo 208-19, award a contract for the water treatment plant residuals disposal project 2019. And Council Memo 209-19, award a contract for the 2019 sewer cleaning and inspection program. It's recommended Council Memos 203-19 through 209-19 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under amendments, change orders, and payments, Council Memo 211-19, approved change order number 5 for the Aux Sable and West Side wastewater treatment plants phosphorus removal and expansion project. It's recommended Council Memo 211-19 be approved.
Drinking the same water.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Next is the city manager's report.
At the last city council meeting, a resident spoke to the council about a House bill, HB 2206. After the meeting, I reviewed the bill, and it was a very short bill, but it seemed like if the bill was passed, potentially we would not need up to a dozen employees. The bill, the way that it was written, would essentially eliminate the city's rental inspection program. So I prepared and sent a letter to our local legislators indicating that if passed, among other impacts, it would eliminate an entire division of the city up to a dozen employees and the city's opposition to the bill. On Friday, April 12th, that was the deadline for members of the General Assembly to pass legislating out of the originating chamber. Now, this doesn't apply universally to all the language, but this bill was re-referred to the Rules Committee, so in all likelihood, I think this bill is, for the most part, dead. So I just wanted to kind of give you the update on that. Okay, that's all I have.
New business, not for final action or recommendation.
One item, just a heads up to the entire council. I spoke with the city manager, and after speaking with him, Jim Trisman has been directed to put together a memo or would it be a memo, Marty? Or Jim?
Yeah, it'll be a council memo. It'll be an ordinance to amend the 2019 budget.
Right. It's an ordinance, so it'll be a memo for, now, the reason being is, of the traditional $2.5 to $2.8 million that we spread around the city, the lion's share, except for just about $800,000, is going for the Chicago Street project. I fully back the Chicago Street project that we're doing. The share's going to open up downtown. But we cannot let, especially after a somewhat wicked freeze and thaw winter, we cannot fall behind on the rest of the city. So I am proposing in the memo, it will go through public service and then of course come to all the rest of us for consideration and a vote, that we amend the budget, and of our $51 million in reserve, we take $2.5 million so that we can add $500,000 per district in street repairs this year.
Oh, I have nothing.
Nothing, thank you.
Mike? I have one item. This first came up last Thursday at a City Center Partnership meeting. We were talking specifically about the horrible incident that happened at Harris Casino with the homicide. I do want to point out, it needs to be said that Harris has had a stellar record here in John. I know Deputy Chief Perona, you've probably been here their entire 25 years. We've had very few instances of any problems or trouble at Harris. They do a great job over there. But unfortunately, I think we're familiar with the homicide with the elderly gentleman who was stabbed in the hallway, and to learn that it happened by an individual who's not from Joliet, but who was homeless here in our city. So speaking with a number of community leaders, with Chief Rochner, Chief Formals, and others, I am going to put together a mayoral task force to address the homeless issue in Joliet. It's not just an issue downtown, it's also an issue on the west side of town. I think it's something that has festered for some time. I think it's time for us as a community to have an intelligent and pointed conversation about this issue. So if anyone is interested, again, I've talked about it at a few different functions in the last few days. If anyone's interested in being part of this task force, if they please contact me at City Hall, and in the next week or so, I'm going to put this together. Thank you.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cornell Darden Jr. I'm President and CEO of the South Suburban Region Black Chamber of Commerce, and also resident of Joliet. Thought we were going to be on the agenda tonight to give a presentation. That was confirmed by the city manager's office, so I'm not sure what happened there. Definitely would like to know if we did something wrong as far as setting that up to be on the agenda, but that's what we expected. What I wanted to talk about today was the relationship that we had with the Diversity Committee to talk about a disparity study. We have not heard from that committee in almost a year. Last time I remember, we followed up several times to see what the city had found in regards to how much that disparity study would cost and what companies they were reaching out to. We did ask to be a part of that process, but we were not allowed to be, so we definitely wanted to get some information on where we were with that. Also, we've been working very diligently lobbying in Springfield for a bill that will make sure that every city that receives over $1 million, or every municipality, road district, and also county that receives over $1 million in motor fuel tax funds will have to have a minority participation plan in place. That bill is moving hastily through the General Assembly, and we're almost certain that it will be passed. While we were in Springfield last week, about 10 of our Joliet businesses were helping to lobby, and we actually watched that bill get passed by the Senate. Our local senators, Bertino Tarrant and Senator McGuire, actually voted yes in favor of the bill. That's set for 2021. Meaning that if the city of Joliet doesn't have that program in place, we will be looking at losing $3.6 million in tax revenue. And I see we just voted to approve motor fuel tax funds to use to open up Chicago Street. We won't have access to that money. You know, I know most of our council people here, and I know you guys care a lot about our city and about our citizens. This bill benefits not just black people or Hispanics. It benefits, I reckon, over 100,000 citizens of Joliet, 169,000 population. This bill represents white men who are veterans. It represents white men who are disabled. It represents all white women. It represents all black people, all Hispanics, all Asians, you name it. So it is a very important bill, and minority participation in contracts is very important as well. So definitely like to hear back from the city of where we are with the disparity study and also clarification on how to get on the agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, I can answer the second question. With the diversity committee, I spoke with Councilwoman Coleman about that a week ago. There's going to be some retooling on the committees with the new council member, with Councilman Girl going. But I would expect within the next few weeks, we will set a date for a diversity committee, and we're going to get that going.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Marty, regarding...
You talked, I don't know who you talked to, you didn't talk to me, so.
Talk to your office.
Oh, sorry.
Should I talk to you next time? Yes, sir.
I started the
I'm
committee,
sorry.
but Betty's.
Yeah, I know, we talked about it.
Yeah.
But, again, there's going to be some retooling. Who did you speak to about getting on the agenda?
It was a person from Marty's office.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We'll try to get you an answer, I guess.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Mayor, Council, good evening. I'm Garland Mays. I'm president of Forest Park Neighborhood Council. Mayor, I want to come down here tonight to talk to you about the coalition you were putting together for the homeless. I think I spoke about this a couple years ago when it was brought up in council meeting. As you know, or most of the council know, that we've been heading up a Joliet leadership committee. And so I extend that to you, Mayor, to sit down with all the neighborhood leaders, all the presidents of the councils, to help work on this situation, to dealing with the homeless. I'm with my church and myself. We're down at the homeless shelter probably every other month, and it's one of my passions that I love to do, to sit down, feed the homeless, and work with the homeless. So, as part of the neighborhood council and the leadership council, I'm personally extending that to you. We meet tomorrow night. And so if you would like to be a part of, or want us to be a part of it, I'm sure that every president of all the neighborhood councils would love to get on board and help with this. Because at the end of the day, when you go down there, there are people who just fell on hard times and bad luck. You know, you have people who, many from all forms, and I understand what happened at Harris. That cannot happen again. And one tragedy is enough. I got that. And so we must grab a hold to it. And so I just want to extend that to you and to the council, and see how we can work together and look at this issue as a citywide problem.
Thank you. What time's the meeting tomorrow night?
Tomorrow at 6.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make
6 or
that.
7.
But I'll follow up with you.
Well, make it in your schedule one day, Mayor. Okay. That'll be fine, but I'll keep you up abreast on it, and we'll definitely talk.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm Sandy Persy,
Executive Director of Morning Star Mission, one of the homeless shelters in town, 350 East Washington Street. And I agree with the gentleman that was just here. The tragedy that happened in Harris, our heartfelt hearts go out to the family of this gentleman. But today, as I read the article, I reached out to each one of my homeless counterparts to see what anybody had heard, and unfortunately, nobody had heard from you, Mayor, nor had I. And I wondered if you had reached out to Keith, who is on the Will County Continuum of Care, who's one of your staff members here, and what he had to say about the homeless situation in Joliet, because the Will County Continuum of Care totally addresses this issue. And I would invite you to sit on that committee as well. I'm not saying that we should not have a task force and we should not really pointedly look into this, but there are people who work toward this every single day. And I would love for you to come down, meet with us at the mission, meet with the Will County Continuum of Care, go out to Catholic Charities Daybreak, go out to Will County Center for Community Concerns. And every staff member or every councilman, I invite you as well to come, because there is a huge homeless problem in Joliet. However, it is decreasing. It is not getting larger according to our HMIS statistics. Ron Pullman is here from the county, and he can attest to that as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, I anticipate the task force will be reaching out to all the people you mentioned, but thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening, Mayor, board members. Dwight Bendel, property owner, taxpayer here in Joliet. I come to you tonight to bring you, I'm sure you are aware, it's road construction time. We're doing work on the projects. Engineers come out on the job sites, promise when damage is done to your property, we're gonna take care of the problem, don't worry about it, we got you handled. 8-9 months later, it's, oh, go file a damage claim. Now they expect the property owner to do all these hoops, estimates, this, and this, when they have an engineer on site who has promised them to take care of this situation. Maybe some of these people that are employed, like the engineers, can assist in getting these estimates when they're brought to their attention on damages. I'm going through this currently. Also, what I've been finally just been informed is when these road construction projects are going on, some of these high traffic, not high traffic roads, but high pedestrian roads, we're no longer painting stripes for crosswalks where the curb cuts are in, the depressions are in, the detectable surfaces are there for the visually impaired. They use their stick, their cane, I'm sorry, and feel the dots, thinks it's safe to cross. Needless to say, there's no stripes. Let's use a perfect example, Osgood by Osgood Park. They did a beautiful job redoing that park. There's a area, I can't call it a crosswalk because it's not striped on the roadway, but you watch the children, there's kids coming back and forth to school, go through there, try to cross traffic there. There's no crosswalk, so that's a hazard for them. Also, they're no longer, to my end, what I've been informed through Public Works, they're no longer painting the white stripe for the stop sign. So that's a situation on that one. Driving down York, you see there's no stop line at Osgood and York, no crosswalks painted on Osgood for the park, nor across York. But when you travel mysteriously a little farther north on York, you have white stripes painted for the stop, crosswalks painted for the commuters to get back and forth. Just wondering, well, if there's something that can be done for the citizens within the community to get a better quality of life that they deserve on this situation.
Jim Trisner, could you have someone take a look at that from your staff? Yes. And also, if you could speak with them after the meeting specifically about your property, what the issues are?
We're on another mission on that currently.
Okay.
We've got that in the works, although another incident occurred with the contractors that were hired to plow the commuter lots. This was brought to the attention of the man who's in charge. Personally, I communicated with him. They decided they're gonna plow all of York because the plows kept pushing the snow back onto the carriage walk, the sidewalk right next to the roadway. Pushed all the snow up into the city's right-of-way, blocking water drainage from a property. Then when they come to remove it, they run down part of the fence. Now, when you bring it to the person in charge's attention, and no names, we know who it is, brought it to him, you need to go file a damage claim.
Are you speaking with anyone with the city about this? Is this being
I
handled?
have, and now it's at the point where you need to go file a damage claim, you need to get 3 estimates, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to stop your livelihood in order to fix what someone gainfully employed by the city is being paid to probably do. He observed the infraction there, he went and had the contractor explain to them, you need to move this. So it's pretty much simple who did that. That's where I'm at with that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
Is there anyone else?
My name is Beatrice Chavez, and I care a lot about children because I'm a education major in college. And I just wanted to tell everybody that lives in Joliet to be careful with the small children because they're all out there already playing basketball, and they're also playing with their bikes. And so just be careful for the pedestrians because I did have a nephew that got killed in Chicago. So I always like for everybody to go slow down when they see the little children playing out in the streets. And I live in the west side of Chicago. I live in the west side of Joliet, not Chicago. But my nephew was 9 years old. He got killed in Chicago, and now I look out for the little children. So just everybody just be careful with the small children when they're outside playing. Because in my block, there's about 15 children. Every day they're playing outside. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Melissa Boatman, and I came here for Bruce Carter's family. Bruce Carter was fatally shot by Joliet Police undercover detective Aaron Bandy, February 6, 2019. And while there's an ongoing investigation, mounting evidence is showing that Bruce Carter was yet again another innocent victim of police misconduct resulting in an unjustifiable death. Bruce Carter is the second person in 4 years, and as a concerned citizen, I, as well as other members of the community, want the police to use less lethal force, such as the case in Ferguson, Missouri. There's a clear prejudicial undercurrent in the Joliet Police Department, and it has been documented recently with racial lawsuits, restructuring of the police department fall 2018, as well as racial slurs and victim mocking online by current members of the Joliet Police Department. I have a few suggestions for the police department. Less lethal training. Naperville Police Department, they were just in the newspaper this year. They were using beanbag shotguns, and there are several alternatives to bullets, such as batons, beanbags, tasers, pepper spray, tear gas, rubber bullets, and pepper balls, and that would help keep people alive so that people can make it to their court date. Body cameras for all officers, cameras in all police vehicles, and maybe some training on policing diverse populations. Also, diversity and inclusion training, and that would help internally because there's racial tension internally in the police department, and maybe training for dealing with people with mental health issues. Maybe that could help keep some people alive. And I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
How y'all doing today? My name is Taz Exclusives. I run a media platform on YouTube. This lady came to my platform about this case because I had reported it on February 6th, about this time of day. I was very unsatisfied with the reporting, which I know you guys aren't the Daily Herald, so that's not your problem. But I was more so concerned with the information that came forth from the police department. You just had a lot of holes in a story that I feel was very important to a community like this. I'm not a citizen of Joliet. I've at times looked around Illinois for a place to live outside of Chicago because I'm from Ohio. I actually looked at Joliet as a place to live at one point, and I was so dissatisfied with how that case was handled, I would never live here. I'm not here to disparage the city, but I am here to ask that when things like this happen, that you as city council, that you don't allow that to happen to where people outside of Joliet feel like you won't stand up for the average citizen. Me as a black man, I feel like in America, we already have that issue. So I feel like when you have a collective like this, that it's important for you to make sure that issue isn't forgotten for someone like myself, Bruce Carter, and Melissa Boatman, who's here on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Move on to mayor and council comments.
Yeah, just a reminder that Belmont Little League this Saturday is having their opening ceremony at 10 o'clock. They'd like to have a good crowd out there to say thank you for everybody who stepped up and made some donations to help them get back on their feet. And as a former president of a Little League organization, I just think it's outstanding what our residents did for these kids. I know how tough it is to run a league on shoestring budget, and you know, it's really nice to see the way the residents stepped up. Thank you.
Yana, yes. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the residents of District 4 for your faith and your trust in me, and he re-elected me back to this seat. Thank you so much, Joliet.
I guess I was told that going away comments are going to be made in a couple weeks, but I do want to congratulate the mayor on his re-election, and also all my fellow councilmen who were re-elected. And it's really a testament, I think, to the job that all of you are doing, that all of you got re-elected by your constituents. And it really, again, it says a lot to the good work that you're doing. I also want to congratulate Sherry Reardon. She's here tonight, joining us here at our council meeting. She is going to be an absolutely fantastic addition to the Joliet City Council, and we should all be very grateful that she's going to be joining our group. She's a very bright lady, and certainly is going to have a lot to offer the city and the residents of Joliet. So congratulations, Sherry.
Hey girl, don't let the door hit you in the butt. I will give my words to you in 2 weeks. Bring a handkerchief. I wanted to just point out local businesses. First opportunity I had to go to a restaurant, and I hope I'm remembering the name correctly. I remember the food. Cantinas in the old keg building. Did a great job on the interior of that building, and the food was delicious. My server was the son of the owner, so I learned that it's really a family operation. And they cook up mom and grandma's recipes there. So if you get a chance, go to Cantinas. And what was the place tonight that we approved the liquor license for with the rib joint?
K Barbecue?
I gotta get there. I talked to the owner before the meeting, first time I met him. I'm hearing some good things about that place too, so I'll be there next. Other than that, happy and blessed Easter to everyone in Joliet and the council.
No, I have nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Jim?
Just a couple of things. There were several of us that attended the Amita Medical Center elected official and government input about what they want to see at their new TIF district. It's been open house yesterday for the community to go in there, and they're still having an open house. So if anyone in the community has ideas on how to improve the new hospital, we all call it St. Joe's, but it's now Amita. And what they want to do is be involved in the community and get very much a lot of input because they want to improve everything there, not only healthcare, but also the involvement. And the mayor and Pat Mudron was there and myself, and I thought it was a very good. Oh, and Sherry Rudin, I'm sorry. I didn't see you up here, but you're coming. And the new councilwoman, Sherry, was also there, and I think it was very eye-opening for them. We just pretty much told it like it was, what's needed and what they needed to do, and they seem to be very open to suggestions. So if anyone in the community wants to go, they're still having another one, I believe tomorrow, I'm not sure of the time, but then they're going to, 1:30 tomorrow as well, at the community center in
It's the boardroom.
in the boardroom, the Wysocki boardroom there. And so I'm looking forward to the new changes at that hospital. And then on a lighter note, our city manager, Marty, and our chief of police, Al Rochner, participated in the Dancing with the Local Stars. And I must say, they should have given out an award for the most hilarious performances, because between the chief and our city manager, to be interim right now, they should have won. And one of these days, when we have a lighter council, I would like Mr. Shanahan to sing the song or play the song. And he wrote about Joliet. He wrote the song, recorded it, and he danced to it. And it was quite a sight to see and very entertaining. And it was all for charity. They raised an enormous amount of money this year. And I also want to wish everyone a happy Easter. Thank you.
Two things, well, three. Number one, happy Easter. Number two, tomorrow at the Rialto, doors open at 6. There's going to be a short movie at 7. This is being sponsored by the Make-A-Wish Foundation for one of our young local residents. Apparently, it's a dream come true for him to star in a feature film at the Rialto. It's Bonaparte Motima. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Councilman Dickinson, I know you're planning on going. I cannot make it, but I would encourage anyone from the council and the public to go and support this young man and support Make-A-Wish. It's a terrific organization. That should be a lot of fun for him. So I think they're going to have a red carpet for him, bringing him into the theater. Should be a lot of fun. And then finally, next Tuesday, we are going to have a joint City Council Environmental Committee meeting. It's the first one we're doing. Thank you, Allison Swisher, for putting this together. The idea being, of course, we're all talking about the water. It's very topical. The Environmental Committee suggested that the council attend one of these meetings and have it like as a workshop so they can get a feel for what's important to the City Council moving forward. So, Marty, is that at 5:30 next Tuesday, 5 o'clock? 5 o'clock? And will that be televised on local TV? Good, thank you. But I'm looking forward to that. It should be a good meeting. That's all I have, except for a brief executive session.
Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded to approve. Councilman Mudron.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Girl.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried.